they're doing a little bit of a changing up in the comic book industry.
Oh, yeah.
DC cancels bisexual Superman.
Rip bisexual Superman.
He didn't have a... So is he going back to straight now?
Well, it's Superman's son or something.
By erasure. Publisher pulls the series about Kal-El's son coming out and fighting climate change. That's too many. That's too many things in one thing. Where they go, this bisexual that fights climate change.
You know what's crazy is this is the type of comic book where you know how sometimes you'd get scammed into like it's like a free comic book because it's like sponsored and it's like trying to sell the product or something.
That's
like this is like what. But this is more like you're like, oh, this is like someone sponsored this, like Waste Management sponsored a fucking like copy of Superman where they're getting all their bullshit in, but it's not. This is like a for sale copy.
That's a good point. It's like the equivalent of like it's so heavily advertised.
Yeah.
Like I always think in Transformers, there's the one scene where the guy wanted a Pepsi or a Coke, or I think it was a Pepsi, but he put the Pepsi on this like contraption they had rigged up, and it came down in like fucking slow motion, glistening down, and the guy grabbed the Pepsi and he goes, "That's good," or something.
Of course, it's like
it was just like
a commercial.
It was like I literally was watching a Pepsi commercial in Transformers. You know what I mean? It was just too in your face.
Yeah.
Where this is that. It's
some of them do them well. I didn't even realize. I was probably too young at the time, but
he
I didn't
fights
realize
climate change and racism, and he's gay.
I didn't realize for a long time that it makes sense now that even I'm saying it, but the Popeye's chicken and Little Nicky, was like a total huge product placement. Like
a lot of those are,
yeah. But I remember
every now and then it wasn't though.
Yeah, this one, and that's what I thought Little Nicky was, and then I found out like it was a huge one. They paid like millions and millions of dollars for it.
Really? Well, yeah, because if it comes like a cultural like gag from the thing, it really does put you on the map.
And it did. I mean, I think it put Popeye's chicken on the map, like that specific being in Little Nicky.
Well, apparently they only sold 34,000 issues, and then they normally sell way more than that. So it turns out that like comic book guys who read comic books didn't like the bisexual Superman.
Worst comic ever.
Making out with dudes.
Yeah, they're not into that.
They didn't like him making out with dudes and trying to fucking stop people from littering.
Yeah, the comic book people are getting force-fed opinions.
They're probably
way
like,
worse than sports.
It's people. A bit gay, and also he's gay.
They are actually they're getting force-fed so much slop.
It is funny because it's the people that probably would hate it the most, and they get the most slop. Why is that? Do they think that group just doesn't have a voice? They're a marginalized group.
Kind of. I don't know, because like they want the unnaturally like busty women, like they're like the comic book dudes. They're like, yeah, give me a chick with like just ginormous cans.
Give me the fake, just female
like
version
massive.
Of the teacher from Burlington.
Yeah, right. There's the massive cans, and then they're like, no, but how do you feel like gay Superman? Like,
yeah, we're not going to be able to do that, but
massive
what we can
rod.
Do, yeah, big Superman with a massive D, and when he's done banging dudes, he tries to stop nuclear power plants from existing.
And they're like, I don't.
And then there's rolling blackouts.
Yeah, and you're bad if you don't like this.
Yeah, how about that?
And there's no other options.
How's that sound? You fuck.
You fucking bigot piece of shit.
That is, it really does feel like the comic book industry is just like filling a sock full of pennies and just smashing them in the face with it. And they keep taking it too.
They had no choice.
Maybe that's why they take it. Well, I guess that guy's making the like, he crowdfunded like $3 million, that like libertarian black dude. Oh, fuck, I can't even remember.
Stone Toss?
No. Ugh, I hate that I forget this guy's name. He's like in the mix. Oh, come on.
Well, I know Stone Toss was doing like Dick Masterson's always. That's Dick Masterson's avatar on Twitter. You know that like cartoon?
No, it's not that. It's called something else.
Based Man.
Eric July.
I don't know what that is.
Really?
Eric July.
He's pretty popular. I think he has a show at the Blaze or whatever. But like, yeah, he basically he was in like a hardcore band actually, and then he became like a guy talking about like comics and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then he like crowdfunded like $3 million.
Wow.
And then he's doing like a, not progressive comic thing.
Probably that does have.
And everyone's writing bad. Everyone's writing articles about how he's bad or whatever.
Of course.
But he's making bank.
I just don't know
now.
how you would get real distribution. Probably that's just like
direct to consumer.
But you can't. But I mean, part of the I don't know.
He's making money. They've got $3 million. I think they hired writers. I think they got
for sure.
I mean, if you're starting up with millions of dollars, you've got a pretty good like operation. I mean, don't you know how many people were like famous comic book writers that like got fired for being like racist white guys or whatever, that they could just straight up be like, hire that guy. I don't know if he's doing any of that stuff, but there's like Kurt Metzger has all these guys on his podcast often, and there's a lot of them that are worked in the industry forever, and then they got out and now they run YouTube channels or do something completely different.
Yeah,
work in ad copy or whatever it is. And some of those guys were like top comic book writers. And dude, there was one guy, he basically was like a top comic book writer, and then he was using a pen name as like a Japanese guy, so he was allowed to. And then that got found out. And he was like, so he was using these pen names like the old, when girls used to have to use a pen name to like say they're a writer, so no one would know it was a girl because they wouldn't listen to it.
J.K. Rowling.
That's what J.K. Rowling was.
J.K. Rowling had another, obviously not for Harry Potter, but for something else.
Yeah, well, that's what these guys do. It's like these like old white guys that were like in the industry forever. They have like girl or like Japanese pen names to try to, so people don't think it's like a white guy, because then they can get jobs still or whatever.
Yeah, J.K. Rowling, I believe so, because J.K. Rowling in her Twitter bio says something about also known as.
But they almost like nowadays you're not really allowed to have a pen name. I don't think they like it when you have a pen name.
No, you have to. You gotta fucking put your face to this shit so they can know.
So they can know. Make sure you're the right
Either
race.
get a slap on the back or a fucking slap to the face.
Slap on the balls from a guy if you want to keep that job.